President and Cabinet remain legal. First female German ambassador accredited, public urged to beware of scammers soliciting money, and online magazine Diaspora Digest launched. This is InfoHub Recap. Stay with us for the next half an hour as we take you through major stories covered during the week of October 12 to 18. Thanks for joining us. The High Court has handed down its ruling denying the request of the former Attorney General, who on behalf of the opposition sought the resignation of cabinet and government. During her ruling, the Chief Justice, Roxanne George, stated that she was bound by the orders of the CCJ and as such, there could not have been any requirement for a mandatory order compelling the President and Cabinet to resign. Following the ruling, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, the Honorable Basil Williams, asserted that the government and the cabinet remain legal.
This government is a legal government. The cabinet is a legal entity in the government. That is the ruling of the CCJ.
That was Attorney General Basil Williams moments after Chief Justice Roxanne George Wilshire handed down her decision denying the order made by the opposition compelling the President and Cabinet to resign. The AG said this decision has restored the rule of law.
The decision of the Lord Chief Justice has restored the position with the rule of law in Guyana. And it's a very important principle for a hierarchical system of courts that you follow precedents. And the principle of stare decisis is that you follow the precedent set by the higher courts. And since the CCJ had already determined this issue, whether the cabinet and government should resign, it was not fit nor proper, and it was of no legal effect for you to come to the lowest court to seek to have that decision of the court, CCJ, the apex court, overturned.
While the opposition lawyer Anil Nanlal had contended that the Caribbean Court of Justice had overlooked given a compulsory order compelling the President and Cabinet to resign, the Chief Justice relied on the decision of the CCJ in its consequential orders, ruling that she was bound by the orders of the CCJ. She noted that the consequential orders gave the government a caretaker status. As such, there could not have been any requirement for a mandatory order compelling the President and Cabinet to resign. The Attorney General said the issue was one already dealt with by the Caribbean Court of Justice, and he agreed with the Chief Justice when she described the action by the opposition as vexatious.
Mr. Nadal has to be careful that he does not become a vexatious litigant, because he was part and parcel of the representation of the leader of the opposition at the all levels, CCJ, Court of Appeal, High Court. And it was not fit for him and right for him as an officer of the court to try to seek to come to the first instance judge and try to raise the same issue. And that's the whole concept of our stare decisis. So we're happy with the decision, and we feel that the court should not be abused.
Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
Following a fatal accident which claimed the lives of Herbert and Denise Josiah, GDF Sergeant Leon Tucker and his aunt Laverne Stobie, His Excellency President David Granger met with the relatives of the deceased to sympathize during their time of grief.
The head of state was accompanied by Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defence Force, Brigadier Patrick West, and Deputy Commissioner of Police Nigel Hoppy, who is performing the functions of Police Commissioner.
Say how sorry we are to all of you relatives about what happened. Just saying sorry cannot bring people back to life. It cannot reverse the pain and the suffering, which I'm sure you all are going through now, and of course the pain of the persons who died or were hospitalized yesterday.
Both Brigadier West and Deputy Commissioner Hoppy said support will be rendered to the families.
The force has committed to providing some assistance from the Force Welfare Fund for the burial of his mother and father. We will also be supporting the wake the night before the funeral All the material for the lake we will also provide it. By Monday, we will receive benefits from the GDF Credit Union, from the Criminal Assistance Program.
The Guyana Police Force will ensure that we provide support, in particular for the police rank who died um, while discharging his duty. We usually take care of the weight in its entirety. Also, he's going to be the beneficiary of some money that are allocated from members of the force who died while serving.
4 persons were killed on Tuesday when a police vehicle slammed into the car they were traveling in on the Friendship eastbound Demerara Public Road. Constable Ronald Barker, who was driving the police vehicle, also died in the tragic accident, while Lance Corporal Travis Fullington, who was with Constable Barker, remains hospitalized. Tricia London, who was in the passenger car, has since been released from the Georgetown Public Hospital. The head of state has assured that there will be an investigation into the cause of the crash.
His Excellency President David Granger continues to ensure ties with Guyana and the rest of the world are strengthened. Recently, the head of state accepted letters of credence from the first female ambassador from the Federal Republic of Germany, Her Excellency Ute Kognik.
During the accreditation ceremony, President Granger referenced the European nations' efforts to advance environmental protection and address climate change. He noted that Guyana attaches great significance to these issues, hence its move towards a green state economy.
The green state that we hope to establish will place emphasis on the protection of our environment, the preservation of our biodiversity, the promotion of the use of renewable energy, and the adoption of practical measures to ensure climate adaptation.
The head of state noted Guyana's vulnerability to rising seas due to global warming and welcomed Germany's contributions to help in the fight against climate change.
Guyana, in this regard, has welcomed Germany's cooperation for the protection of our forests and the establishment of protected areas. Guyana is appreciative of Germany's support for natural resource and environmental management. We welcome also Germany's economic and technical support, especially in the fields of public health and public education, and look forward to further enhancement of our bilateral relations.
Her Excellency Ambassador Koenig, a veteran diplomat with over 30 years of experience, referenced the launch of the German Initiative Latin America and the Caribbean and the efforts of Guyana's representative, Foreign Minister, the Honorable Dr. Karen Cummings. The ambassador said that whilst Guyana is preparing to move into the oil and gas sector, it is notable that it remains committed to expanding the use of renewable energy.
Guyana is well known worldwide as one of the greenest countries of the world with an abundant biodiversity. In the past, we jointly cooperated successfully through our development bank KfW on the Tropical Forest Protection Project and on the protected area systems. I look forward to learn more about your green development strategy and your vision to building climate-resilient economic sectors and creating a safer planet.
Guyana and Germany established formal diplomatic relations on September 2 in 1966.
The head of state joined with the New Amsterdam Mayor and Town Council, along with hundreds of residents, to celebrate the town's 128th anniversary.
During his address to the residents of one of Guyana's oldest towns, President Granger highlighted the township's developmental potential.
Great things are going to happen to this town. This is the capital of a great region. It is the cradle of great Guyanese sons and daughters. I have a plan to make New Amsterdam the engine of growth in the East. The eastern region of Guyana is about to see a transformation led by New Amsterdam.
The head of state assured the residents of government's commitment to continuously collaborate to make that a reality.
We will stand with New Amsterdam. Change has come, and we will work with you to make this town the engine of growth in the east of Guyana. We'll make this town a beautiful, business-like, picturesque place. Let us stick together, let us work together to make New Amsterdam a prosperous town.
Minister of Communities, Honorable Ronald Bolkan, echoed the president's sentiments and urged the residents to reflect on the transformation of the township.
As we celebrate, let us continue on this course of empowerment and protect the gains we have made.
New Amsterdam's celebration is being held under the theme, Diversification is the focus, inclusion is the goal, celebration through transformation in 2019. For InfoHub, Anara Khan.
Prime Minister, the Honorable Moses Nagamutu, met with the chairman of the Ghana National Broadcasting Authority, Leslie Sobers. The meeting aimed to inform the Prime Minister of the work being done by the GNBA and to update on several matters, including legal action taken by two privately owned broadcasters. The chairman assured the Prime Minister that the GNBA has at all times acted lawfully and responsibly, and that the Broadcast Authority is preparing to firmly defend its position. Guyanese worldwide are now able to keep abreast of all the major developments across the country. Diaspora Digest, an online magazine, was launched to give readers a better understanding of the significant achievements under the government and the steps taken to strengthen and forge new diplomatic ties.
The 50-plus page e-magazine will feature the Guyanese life back home, sector developments, events taking place in the diplomatic arena involving Guyana, education and infrastructure developments, among others. Produced by the Department of Public Information, the magazine caters for Guyanese living abroad and visiting who wants to be in the know with what's happening here in Guyana.
This is the Communications Department, where stories are usually written and edited before going to the editor-in-chief, who does her tweaks and then, of course, give final approval. We're here in the camera department, where all the magic happens. The graphic artists like Chevin right here behind me, they go to work on the magazine, of course. This is where all the beautiful pictures come alive. The first edition of Diaspora Digest comes to you on Wednesday, October 16, 2019. Felicia Valenzuela, InfoHub.
6 villages in the Patara-Supuruni region have been awarded a combined contract of $30 million for developmental works in their communities. The agreement for the works is catered for in the 2019 budget.
The villages of Kurukubaru, Chenapau, Paramakotoy, Maikwak, Itabak, and Kanapang were awarded contracts at a cost of $5 million each. A simple sign-in ceremony was facilitated last Saturday by Regional Executive Officer of Region 8, Mitzi Campbell, with the respective Tushaus present in the boardroom of the Ministry of Communities.
The description of the works basically is rehabilitation of roadways, upgrade to walking trail to ATV's carriageway, and work inclusive of mobilization and demobilization of plant and equipment and materials, removal of all debris, and the widening of the access road by cutting down all trees, stumps, roots, and vegetation down to existing road surface.
The REO noted that the effort will see the full participation of villagers. InfoHub spoke with a few of the Tushaus.
As soon as I meet home, I would have to call a public meeting, discuss this, and get workers to go and start doing the work. We'd be cutting trees and like cleaning the roadways and even cutting bumps or mountains, what they call mountains. We'd be cutting them just because it's thing for our own use, and we want to make it as like the best that we can.
I'm going to have the public meeting, and usually I do that. Whenever I've signed any contract, I call the public meeting, and with the members of the council as well, and we're going to mobilize the people to go and work. Proper arrangements must be put in place in terms of, remember, these are distances we're talking about, so you have to think in terms of having tarpaulins and so on, and food and things for the work.
Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
Still in regional news, a multi-million-dollar investment in education was made in the Patara-Supuruni region by the Ministry of Communities.
The donation of a brand new tractor to Quito Secondary School was done by Communities Minister, the Honorable Ronald Bolkan, on Friday, October 11. This investment will go a long way in making life easier for the students there. Regional Education Officer Penelope McIntosh explained that the tractor was specifically requested for Quito Secondary, one of the largest dormitory schools in the country, to assist in transportation of dietary and school supplies from the airstrip. McIntosh noted that this type of vehicle was most suited for the terrain. It will also be used to transport children from the nearby villages that do not live in the dormitory.
We're doing black giant chickens, and so when we have to transport their feeds and other stuff, the tractor would come in handy. Would also help in our agriculture program in school because we have a plow and the other stuff. So we can detach the trailer and use that when we need to plow the land and so forth for SBA purposes and other stuff.
Quito Secondary School was commissioned earlier this year and is progressing well. When it first opened, it housed 295 students from grades 7 to 8. Today, 445 students are accessing quality education from grades 7 to 10. Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
Guyana is now equipped with the roadmap needed to address the sustainable management of the artisanal fisheries sector. Ministry of Agriculture recently received Guyana's Strategic Framework and Management Plan 2019 to 2024 from the World Wildlife Fund Guyanas.
Artisanal fisheries exploit fish and shrimp species for local consumption or export and is done on various scales. The main objectives of the management plan are licensing and registration, marine environment, safety and order at sea, dialogue, cooperation and coordination, and finance.
Our fishing stocks globally are being threatened. The catch is going down, climate change is bringing changes, species are migrating, flying fish is not as abundant around Barbados as before. So a number of things are happening. And the world is trying to put things in place to minimize things like illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing, trying to make sure that fishing is done in a sustainable manner.
Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Noel Holder, also expressed that while there may be resistance to the changes that the management plan seeks to implement, these are necessary for the fisheries sector to thrive. According to Chief Fisheries Officer within the Fisheries Department, Denzel Roberts, the 5-year plan will see several important measures rolled out. Some of these were discussed.
We'll be having more enforcement to ensure that the vessels are licensed. We will be working with the co-ops to ensure more transparency among the members, and we will be trying to improve our data collection.
WWF, who regularly partners with the Ministry of Agriculture's Fisheries Department through its country manager, highlighted one of the key areas of collaboration moving forward.
We'll definitely work with the department to assess the fish stock. We're catching, we're eating, but we don't have a good idea of the fish stock and the impact of our fisheries extraction on the stock itself. And if we don't keep track of that, then you're taking and then you realize you're not taking from nothing, or the sizes of the fish are not the right sizes, are not grown enough for extraction.
Williams said once a baseline of the fishery stock is established, monitoring can be done. Shaquille Bourne for InfoHub.
The Ministry of Public Health and PAHO WHO are preparing to launch the revised Mass Drug Administration campaign with a focus on the need to eliminate filaria by the end of 2020.
The Mass Drug Administration campaign is tentatively scheduled to begin during the last week of October and will run for 14 days in 8 of the 10 administrative regions. This campaign is one which will introduce a third medication, ivermectin, to the already administered albendazole and DEC tablets. Director of Vector Control Services Dr. Horace Cox regards this as the most effective method of elimination and explains how this new campaign will work.
This year, we have determined that the best strategy, after assessing all perspectives, the best strategy would be to measure the height of the person that would be participating in the Mass Drug Administration campaign, understanding that ivermectin is now added. So this is what is called a dose poll. And on the dose poll, there are several demarcations. What the team would have done is basically to have the number of pills written corresponding to the height that is measured. So persons who will be measured can easily look against it and ensure that the pill distributor is sharing what should be shared.
With the addition of ivermectin, it is expected that Guyana will likely eliminate filaria by the end of 2020. There has been a remapping of all regions to determine filaria endemic regions, and as such, the MDA will now be expanded to the Maruka sub-region of Region 1, as well as Regions 2, 3, 4, 5, New Amsterdam and surrounding areas of Region 6, Bartica and Lower Mazaruni communities in Region 7, and the entire of Region 10. Dr. Reza Niles of the Neglected Infectious Diseases Unit is encouraging all persons to be a part of this campaign and take the pills.
Now we do this through our mass drug administration. This is why we continue our journey. Now a key component to any successful MDA is social mobilization. What is this behavior change? For persons not just to take their pills, but to acknowledge that there is a problem, to take your pills to defeat this problem, and therefore by doing that and having an acceptable level of coverage, we can say as a country that lymphatic filariasis no longer affects us to the degree where transmission is sustained or where the infection level is sustained.
When the mass drug administration begins, pill distributors will visit schools and homes and will also be at fixed points to ensure that citizens access and benefit from the prophylactic triple drug therapy. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
Persons are being urged to be on the lookout for scammers impersonating the Minister of Public Health, the Honorable Walter Lawrence, in an effort to solicit money. Speaking to InfoHub after a court appearance for a matter of this very nature, Minister Lawrence said several innocent persons have fallen victim to the hideous act.
Persons have impersonated me and have been able to receive over $2 million from a very small phone vendor. Using my name. The matter continues. I will have to come back to court. Here it is that a small vendor will have to pay that $2 million to the company that he took credit from. There are other persons who have released monies to persons believing that it was me. I trust that persons out there would recognize that this is all a scam, using my name, using my position as Minister of Public Health to take their monies from them. Please, should anyone call you or text you or send you a Facebook message asking you to send money to myself or any other minister, please do not do so. Ministers do not handle finances.
Minister Lawrence said she is optimistic that a decision in the ongoing matter will be made at the next court appearance. She also assured all such complaints will be reported to the Guyana Police Force and investigated thoroughly. Shore-based operations and businesses are now safer with the commissioning of the Guyana Fire Services fireboat labeled the Protector.
A $292 million modernized fireboat named the Protector was commissioned at the Transport and Harbor Stelling at Water Street. Commissioning the fireboat, Minister of Public Security, the Honorable Kemrat Ramchitan, said that the need for such a vessel on Guyana's waterfronts can never be overemphasized, as it is a necessary asset.
This very vulnerable waterfront in Port Georgetown, with its massive wharves and warehouses and cargo handling facilities that process billions of dollars worth of shipping goods, stock and fuel and all that, needed to be protected. And this government continues to invest in the acquisition of assets for that kind of protection.
The fireboat was built from scratch and is designed specially to maneuver in Guyana's rivers. Chief Fire Officer Marilyn Gentle explained that training was also provided to firefighters to effectively operate the boat.
We had an absence of over 30 years with the boat. We would have had no expertise within the fire service. Even though men had exposure to marine firefighting training, to actually operate a boat to get to fight these fires, we had to have the skill sets developed. The GDF Coast Guard came on board, and they're still on board. And in 2 years, through all the training cycles, we were able to have 17 persons who could become the nucleus of this fireboat unit.
The vessel was constructed by Angloco Limited, a company based in the United Kingdom. It is capable of pumping in excess of 5,000 gallons of water per minute. Natisha Isaacs for InfoHub.
Members of the Civil Defense Commission's Volunteer Emergency Response Team, VERT, continue to build their capacity with a rigorous 3-day survival training course.
Arriving at the Mitchell Jungle and Amphibious Training School, CRMJATS at Makora on Friday, the participants went straight into the training where they were given a crash course in basic knots before engaging in a river crossing exercise. Over the course of the 3 days, the participants were tested mentally and physically as they battled the heat, lack of access to basic amenities, and sleeping in the jungle to complete their training. Officer in command at the CRMJATS, Captain Ian Cameron, explained that the training will see the VERT participants being exposed to the basic components of survival training.
Today we're here with the VERT from the CDC doing a 48 hours survival training. Yesterday we would have covered the tactical river cross, where we saw the team at the tactically cross the Makora River. Before they execute this, they had to look at the various water obstacles, look at the safety involved when crossing water obstacles, the selection of place of crossing, and the tactics of when crossing the water obstacle.
Director General of the CDC, Lieutenant Colonel Kester Craig, in brief remarks underscored the importance of the training.
For the VERTs, this is a critical juncture in your training. You endure mentally and physically about over 48 hours of jungle survival training that is laced with military type of activities. The exposure that you have gained here over the last 2 days is very difficult to acquire any part of the world. The training is to develop you as an individual.
Several of the volunteers described the survival training experience as a very humbling one. Felicia Valenzuela, InfoHub.
Before we close, Felicia Valenzuela has some vital information for us from the Ghana Elections Commission.
GCOM's preliminary list of electors is now on its website, www.gcom.org.gy. Citizens are reminded to check the voters list to ensure their names are on it. GCOM's claims and objection exercise began on October 1st and will end on November 18, 2019. During this time, the following persons can check the registration office in their respective districts to verify their registration records for inclusion on the list of electors. Persons who are 18 years or older or will become 18 by December 31st, 2019. And Guyanese citizens by birth, descent, naturalization or registration, and a citizen of a Commonwealth country living in Ghana for no less than a year before December 31st, 2019. Also, persons whose names appear on the Central Registrar can make changes or corrections during this period. GCOM's claims and objection exercise is being conducted at all GCOM offices throughout the country.
This has been InfoHub Recap, which looked at major stories carried during the week of October 12 to 18. Remember to subscribe to our website for more stories and follow us on our social media platforms. Also, do take some time to review our Diaspora Digest along with other publications, all found on the DPI website. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Goodbye.